Good evening, good night, good morning. Wherever you may be in this great, beautiful planet of ours, it is I, Mike Martins, bringing you Mike in the Night. And I should have played the intro song. Well, it's not too late. I forgot to play the intro song again. I forgot to play it last time, so let's play it now. Gemini crew in the house, people.
Gemini King, Mike in the Night, and the Gemini crew. Ooh. You're here with Mike in the night. Mike it through the night, you're here with Mike in the night. Let's just talk about the world, give this page another turn, 'cause you're here with us tonight. Everything's alright when you're here with Mike in the night. Mike it through the night, you're here with Mike in the night. Giving the world light when you're here with Mike in the night. Mike it through the night, you're here with Mike in the night. Sometimes things are just absurd, so let's just talk about the world, 'cause you're here with us tonight. Mike it through the night, you're here with Mike in the night. Mike it through the night, you're here with Mike in the night. Let's just talk about the world.
Welcome, guys.
Give this page another curl, 'cause you're here with us tonight.
Mike in the Night. Thanks for joining me tonight, guys. I was bored. Family's sound asleep. Wife is home, which is really good. She arrived from the hospital today. Thank you, God, that everything went well. Thank you for all the prayers and the kind words and positive, just positive energy, people. Welcome to Mike in the Night, a very rare Monday night edition. Yeah, what's going on? Burning the midnight oil with Mike Martins, especially people out east. It is in the morning now, way in the morning. Past the midnight hour. Well, one thing caught my attention today, and I actually saw it on Telemundo, on the Spanish news, actually. I usually watch the Spanish news, so I could get their take on Donald Trump. It's so entertaining how they portray America on the Mexican side. So, okay. So I'm watching it, and they're talking about this genetic engineering. And okay, all right, we've been farting around with genetic engineering for a long time, but now there's a doctor that was on there. It's right here. There's lots of articles here. Chinese scientists are creating CRISPR babies. A daring effort is underway to create the first child whose DNA has been tailored using gene editing. I don't know if this scares you guys, but this scares me more than a horror movie, because this is when you start taking the place of God. I don't think we're meant to change our breed. I don't think we're meant to play God. What do you guys think? I mean, this is like they said, a daring effort. I mean, are we trying to rewrite life? What do we get out of it? I mean, okay, child is immune to disease or something. We're gonna get into it a little bit here in the show. Go ahead and call me on Skype if you like. Topic tonight, is genetic manipulation. What do you guys think? This has been going around. So let's jump to Wikipedia first. Let's see what the heck Wikipedia has to say here. Genetic engineering, also called genetic modification or genetic manipulation, is the direct manipulation of organisms' genes using biotechnology. There's biotechnology right there. I have no idea what the hell I'm looking at. It is a set of technologies used to change the genetic makeup of cells, including the transfer of genes within across species boundaries to produce improved or novel organisms. There it is right there. New DNA is obtained by either isolating and copying the genetic material of interest using recombinant DNA methods or by artificially synthesis. Artificially synthesis is sometimes known as DNA printing. It's a method by synthetic biology that is used to create artificial genes in the laboratory. Oh, that's horrible. But it might be good, right? But how come we haven't found a cure for cancer? Why are we fixing the people that are coming to, or trying, or like reprogramming the people that are coming? Why would they focus on that when they could be focusing on the people that are here now that could, you know, why don't we fix what we have here before we fix what's out there, or before it comes, you know, type of thing. It differs from molecular cloning and polymerase chain reaction, PCR. So a construct is usually created by used to insert this DNA into a host organism. The first recombinant DNA molecule was made by Paul Berg in 1972 by combining a DNA from a monkey, SV40, and a lumbad virus, as well as, isn't that how AIDS or something got formed, or HIV or something? This is crazy, guys. The process can be used to remove or knock out genes. The DNA now is inserted randomly or targeted to a specific part of the genome. Genome is genetic material in an organism that consists of DNA. The genome includes both genes and non-coding DNA. Okay, well, that's way over my head. Now, rewriting life. I mean, rewriting life. What's the deal with that? Weren't we created, or how would this affect? How would these rewritten humans that come into the world affect the human progression? Like, what would start happening? Would we start seeing flaws? Right? Would we start seeing flaws in each other? What would it create flaws that didn't exist before? I don't know. I'm not for playing with God. So Chi is saying, they say blood type Rh negative is from Ryan's monkeys. Yeah, I was reading that right here. It's going into that right here. So breeding. So what's, you know, I think whenever you add something, you're taking away from something. Would this diminish sex drive? Would it heighten sex drive? Would it diminish vision? Would your, you know, whenever you take and you add, it's one of those balances where I don't think you could just make a perfect human. So someone in the comment section is asking if my wife is okay. She is home. She's asleep. She came home from the hospital this evening. And the kids are happy. Everyone's at home. Everyone's asleep. The whole house is asleep except me. And I'm just burning the midnight oil with you guys. And I want to thank everyone for tuning in. Appreciate it very much. This is not good. I don't know. Rewriting life to me is I mean, this is just my opinion. What do I know? I don't know anything. But what I'm telling you, I think we're starting to play with fire, you know? Lola scratches if did she get her new baby? No, baby's due in March. There was a couple of complications which were corrected, thank God. But everything's okay. So, thanks for asking, Low Roller Scratcher. Thanks a lot, bud. Anon saying, so China is going to engineer males now? Well, it's worse than that. It's rewriting life, and I think everything you add, you take away. I believe there's always a takeaway for everything. For every action, there's a reaction, and I think this could contaminate or destroy humans. As this could be this could be the Antichrist right here, playing with our genetics. So, when Chinese researchers first edited genes of a human embryo in a lab dish in 2015, it sparked a global outcry and pleas from scientists not to make a baby using technology, at least for the present. It was the invention of a powerful gene editing tool, CRISPR, which is cheap and easy to deploy, that made the birth of humans genetically modified in a vitro fertilization (IVF) center theoretical. It's a center a theoretical possibility. Now it appears already to be happening. So we're not talking about a human clone. Someone's saying they already created a human clone already. They probably have. I'm talking about changing our genetics. Changing our makeup. Changing how we were created. I'm not seeing... I'm just seeing, I just see doom and gloom on this. I'm sorry, guys. I know I'm so like, hey, let's look at the negative of everything. But I don't want to be that see what I told you guys type of guy, but I don't think, even if we were advanced enough to do this kind of stuff, I think we should respect the human genome. I think we should respect the human genome. I think we shouldn't go in there. So if you guys want to add me on Skype, Mike Martins 1980, and call in on the show, and we could discuss. Tonight's topic is... This is a big deal. This is bigger than what's happening in the markets. This is bigger what's happening in the housing. This is big. This is huge. This could wipe out all of humanity. This is so big that it could either take us into the 22nd, 21st, the turn of the century. You know, guys, I've been looking for the turn of the century this year. Because in 1918, at the turn of the century, man, was it ever a turn of the century. It was typewriters everywhere. Newspaper printing everywhere. Automobiles everywhere. Electricity in homes. Bathrooms in homes. Man, 1918 was a turn of the century. Now we're in 2018, and we're at a new turn of the century. I mean, 2018, yeah. And what do we have? Internet? A pile of wars? Genetically modified food? You know, we got internet. Okay, we got smartphones. That's great. But the question I'm asking is, in the year 2118, and they look back to 2018 and 2118, and they look back and they say, wow, that turn of the century... Evan, how you doing, buddy?
Pretty good, Mr. Mike. A surprise show, I see.
Yeah, I was kind of playing around with my template for the Mike in the Night show. And my family, my wife went to sleep. I was with her for a bit, and then the kids went to sleep. So I'm alone. So I just thought I'd play some, just maybe go on live. And this came on the news yesterday. I saw it. No, actually, I saw it yesterday on Telemundo, on the Spanish news. And I was kind of surprised when I saw, you know, human, let's call it, rewriting life, I guess, if you want to put it that way, or manipulation.
That's one way of putting it.
Yeah.
It's manipulation, Mike. There's a particular virus they use. It's called cauliflower virus number 45.
Okay.
Yep. And what they use that for, it allows cross-species migration. Let me just turn off these automatic updates if I can. Oh, wonderful. Google will not let me. Thank you, Google.
Oh.
What I'll do, Mike, I'll call back in one moment.
Oh, good old Google. Okay. So Evan's having problems with the Skype. He'll call right back. I'm really interested in understanding, because I don't think these guys understand what they're doing too. That's what I'm scared of. Okay? If the guy working somewhere pushing a button has no idea what he's pushing that button for, I'm kind of scared. You know what I'm saying? If you need him to do something at that job, I don't think these guys really know what they're doing. I think they're understanding or getting a grasp of what's happening. I don't think these guys really know what they're doing. I think these guys know what I'm doing, as I am as good as a football player playing on the NFL. I could play on the NFL, but I think I'm just as good on the field as these guys are with their whole genetic manipulation. Not good at all. Because I don't think I'd stand more than 8 minutes or 5 minutes or 2 minutes on the field. I think these guys are just as good as I am in playing NFL football. But, so I'm trying to... This is not good. This is not good at all. So I saw this on Telemundo, and it kind of threw me for a curveball. I don't trust these guys. That's my second question. Do you trust these guys? I just think it's not in the cards. I just think it's something that will never work. Ever. And then 5 years later, people will look back at this video. Look, it worked. And then 90 years later after that, it's like, oh, damn, why do we do that? Yep. It's the big, see, I told you so 100 years from now. Turn of the century, guys. What are we going to be known for at this turn of the century? And I've been asking this. You're going to see a bunch of mirrored videos on this in YouTube, good old YouTube. And I'd like to know, turn of the century, what are we going to be known for? In the year 2118, and they look back at 2018, what are we going to be known for? I could tell you what we could be known, what we were known for in 1918. A pile of typewriters everywhere, printing presses on the full force, automobiles everywhere, electricity in homes, all kinds of stuff in 1918. It was a new world. It was a bright future. It was expansion, and it was room for improvement. It was, you know, people had their head buried in books. You know how... Are you there?
I did it, Mike. I killed Google.
Good. I got a question to ask you before we kick off this whole thing. 2118.
Mm-hmm.
People will look back on the turn of the century. What the heck are they going to know us for at this turn of the century? Because 1918, and I was just telling to the people right now, 1918 was a great turn of the century. We just got out of a big war. Automobiles populating everywhere. Newspapers being sold on every corner. Typewriters making its way everywhere. Fashion making a scene. I don't think women were allowed to vote, but there was a lot of things happening at the turn of the century. And I asked this to Formafist earlier on his show, when I was on his show. I want to ask you, in 2118, they look back. What are they going to see? Internet and smartphones. Is there anything they could say besides wars and fossil fuels?
I'll give you two answers, Mike. You'll like these answers. Combine 1984 with Brave New World, and that's where we are. The other answer, of course, Mike, is The Times of Noah 2.0. How about that, Mike?
So,
We will be known for the collapse of modern civilization.
okay.
That's all we can be known for. We would be known for opening the door to every other religion and culture and creed for no reason other than our leaders said so. And we felt bad. And by doing so, we degenerated the society far more rapidly than otherwise.
Stan
How
Ulch.
about that, Mike?
Yeah, oh yeah. 1,000,000,000%. You're on the money with that. Stan Ulch in the comments, you know what he said? He said just bang on with the money. The feelings wars.
That's what it is. It's, what is it? It's not about facts. It's about feelings.
But isn't feelings a bunch of dog poop?
Oh, no, they're important, Mike. But remember, these people, if you watch television, they only really want you having two feelings. They want everyone happy all the time, like it's a Coca-Cola or a Colgate commercial. Everyone with these ridiculous smiles on their face at all times. Parts of America are like that. It's a bit disturbing. And the other thing they want you to be is afraid, because if you're afraid, you're very easy to manipulate. So they always harp on the fear, on the war, on the scare tactics, because you'll say, do whatever you can to save me. Whatever means necessary, government, save me, please. And you end up with a situation where you need the government more and more to save you from even totally fictitious enemies like Al-Qaeda or ISIS or
Al-Qaeda?
Name a group, Mike.
No, it wasn't it was Al-Qaeda, then Al-Qaeda, then ISIS, then ISIL, then it was...
Oh, no, put your head in before Al-Qaeda too, and that was the big new Brzezinski's big move. If you've ever read The Grand Chessboard by Zbigniew Brzezinski, he's dead now. I think he died 2 years ago.
Mhm.
But he was the one who orchestrated the Afghanistani conflict and all of that Middle Eastern nonsense that went on.
That's in 1981 with the Afghani freedom fighters against Russia, right?
And who was their poster child, Mike? Laden.
Oh, Bin Laden. That's right. Bin Laden was the point. That's right. That was the 1981. That's right. Yeah.
He was on 60 Minutes as well. I remember he was on there. He was I don't think they interviewed him necessarily, but Zbigniew Brzezinski was also there being interviewed about the same thing. If Brzezinski was anywhere or Kissinger was anywhere, you knew something was wrong.
Oh, yeah.
You ever watch that Gulf War footage, Mike? That's a good one. You watch the Gulf War footage and they say, oh no, here comes a Scud. One of them puts on a gas mask, the other one puts on a helmet, and they slowly drop off screen and they say, it's really bad acting. And they admitted to it being bad acting later. They even show you the studio they were in and the jacket that changed mid-scene. But they lie all the time, Mike.
I know they want to instill fear in us, so, I mean, why isn't this genetic remanufacturing that we're bringing up today, why isn't that front line and center trying to scare us? Why is it on the back burner?
Well, because it wouldn't be a good vessel to scare you, would it? Because they want us on genetically modified food. The way they scare you is they have a food scare. The organic farm, they had the E. coli outbreak, didn't they? Remember that one, or the salmonella one?
Yep.
With the lettuce, they said the Mexicans were going to the toilet on the crops, or something to that effect. And the swine flu that came out of that. They use those sort of scare tactics, but not usually genetically modified scare tactics, because, like with salmon, it's spliced with cockroach. It's because, as I was saying before I cut myself off, Mike, they've got a virus, cauliflower virus number 45, and they use that to splice and make a hybrid sort of animal, or they'll add traits from one animal, erasing traits from others, but they can't add any new information. And what they did, they added cockroach DNA to the humble salmon, and a lot of that salmon, farm salmon, that meat would be, they mature very fast, of course, and the meat is incredibly grey, so they have to add coloured dye to their food pellets in order to colour the salmon pink. And the thing is, there's no labelling or law on the convention of doing such practice, so you wouldn't even know unless you killed the salmon yourself, because that's all farm salmon. That's what they're like. So it's in their interest because it's cheap for their bottom line, and it's not as good. They want to do the worst thing they can possible, and if you were to bring up genetically modified foods as a bad thing, it would,
it's like
their sales.
It's like global warming.
Well, it's like global warming in a way, but they used global warming as a vehicle, didn't they? The other thing is, with the genetically modified food, it's designed to be Roundup ready. I don't know if you know what Monsanto's Smart Stack corn is, but if you eat any canned corn, I mean, they had a corn scare recently, you mentioned, it's got 7 different varieties of genetically modified corn, all in one. It's called Smart Stack corn, and it can quite literally, not only can it absorb Roundup into the corn itself, so you're eating glyphosate, which they've found to have tumor-inducing qualities. It only took them 20 years to figure that out, a litany of lawsuits. But the other thing it can do is it allows for a bacteria that creates Bt toxin to exist within the corn plant. When you eat that, it can quite literally colonize your biome, and then you end up as a poison factory for yourself. Quite literally, you poison yourself with this bacteria that's living in your gut. And usually those sort of people are eating the food that would feed that sort of bacteria. Interesting, right?
Yeah, it's actually horrifying. But
it is.
So another article, genetically modified babies in bombshell breakthrough, claimed scientists. A Chinese scientist has claimed he helped make the world's first genetically modified human beings, twin girls whose DNA he said he altered. This reminds me too much of Skylabs or Skynet from the movie Terminator. And the news is likely to spark a global outcry as people question the moral and ethical questions concerning the bombshell experiments. Evan, what do you think of what do you think morally and ethical about this? What do you think?
Of course, well, okay, it depends on what standard we're using. They don't have standards, Mike. They'll say you justify abortion. You can have abortions. Why can't you have genetically modified babies, right? Designer babies. They'll say you allow for this religion, so why can't you have that religion? They'll always get their foot in the door and use that as a precedent for the next thing. But morally, Mike, we're not supposed to, you're given what you're given. You should be happy with that. I mean, it could be used for good. It's not, but it could be used for good. You can imagine, like, selectively switching off hereditary diseases and having the body reorganize itself accordingly. Because remember, you've got a genotype, which is your DNA itself, the actual code. Then you've got the phenotype, which is how it's expressed. And if you eat certain foods, you'll have different genetic expression. Like, let's say you ate loads of carbohydrates, Mike. Your body would have to modify the way it uses its genetic structure, its DNA, in order to accommodate your current lifestyle.
Yes.
If that makes sense.
Yes, it does.
If you change your lifestyle and diet entirely, you're going to have different genes activating and whatnot. So, in a way, it can be used for good, but for sure, these people are using it for bad. But then again, the Chinese make all sorts of scientific announcements which turn out not to be very true. Like when that cloning scandal happened, or with the dinosaur bones. Because most dinosaur bones you see in museums are from a factory in China. Quite literally, made in China, dinosaur bones. And it's even more interesting how they figure out what dinosaurs look like. They get a chip, a single chip of a tooth, and they say, that looks like a brontosaurus. And then they build that's basically what they do.
And they build an entire frame around it.
Oh, but here's the thing. How do they know it's a brontosaurus?
They don't. Of course they don't know.
That's right. That's right. So they can make it as outlandish or as ridiculous as they want. Because you think about it, you've got the Tyrannosaurus Rex, everyone's favourite. Well, it used to be until Jurassic, whichever Jurassic Park it was, came out, kept upping the ante with the dinosaurs. But the Tyrannosaurus Rex would be the worst predator out there if you think about it. It's eating animals smaller than it, right?
Of course.
Okay, that's the idea. It's supposed to run so fast and catch these smaller animals. But I don't know if you know, Mike, but if you look in nature, can you ever find, except maybe in the water, where there are the predator is bigger than the prey?
No.
Lions? No.
No.
Cheetahs?
No.
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 Leopards? No.
No.
So polar bears maybe, but they're catching fish.
Yeah.
You know? It's very rare because you think about it, just the law of momentum. I've got to turn a corner. Oh, look, the small thing did it quicker than me. I've got to turn the corner now. Simply not energy efficient, is it, Mike?
Mm-hmm.
But everyone believes the lie, don't they?
Exactly.
Probably an oversized chicken and not much else.
Okay, I got a question here from Candace K. Why or how doesn't the people worldwide understand that we literally fight against spiritual? We don't fight against flesh and blood, but against principality, powers of darkness, and high places.
Paul. Very good.
The masses have
How
no
do they
clue.
not know?
Yeah.
That's a good question. Well, I'll give you a few angles, Mike. It's from the time you're in school, isn't it? You're told you're insignificant and you evolved from goo, so you don't think you're that important anymore, do you? So you don't think life's that meaningful anymore. Everything's an accident, and the authorities are the ones who are going to tell you how to think and what to do. So you never come to your own conclusions. You just follow along with the model answer, don't you? In this particular country, Hong Kong, people love their model answers. If you throw them even a slightly different question, I was talking to a mother of a student yesterday, and I said, because it's an important question when you're talking to students, you say, what does your son eat? And her answer was 5 years old, because she'd never considered that I might be asking a different question. It just doesn't occur to you if you've never had the thought before. Mm-hmm. So a lot of people don't have the thought. A lot of people don't think. That would be why, if I were to say, they worship the wrong thing. They are following the system. Bad idea.
So, but why are we... So, basically, the only way to get back to the common man in Western countries, because in other countries, they'll just put your head on a pike, or display you or flog you in the downtown core. But in Western countries, the only way they can get back at people that think outside the box is just call them racists or call them what do you call it?
Flamethrower, Mike. That's right. Blame throwers on full. They label you and socially ostracize you through the media. If you look at if you're a confident, strong leader of a man, television does not represent you anymore. All the men on television are bumbling, quirky idiots. And then, you're a Christian. How does television represent a Christian? Mm-hmm. Not in a very good light. Always the uptight, uppity person who just doesn't get it.
They're seeing all the bad in the religion, like in Christianity, for example, but they never... they never look at what all the good that it's, you know what I'm saying? It's always negative connotations, always thrown around, and, I don't know. Anyways, let's not go too far off topic. So, I just want to know, so a team of Southern Universities of Science and Technology in Shenzhen has been recruiting couples in effort to create the first gene-edited babies. The team planned to eliminate the gene called CC5R5 to make the offspring resistant to HIV, smallpox, and cholera. What happens if we're pre-programmed to be resistant to this? Could we be opening a can of worms that we shouldn't be opening?
Of course, because you don't know it's like with any pill, isn't it, Mike? You don't know the side effects, do you?
No.
You don't know the outcome of the thing before it happens. And when you're modifying people like that, you might insert resistance to cholera, let's say, and you might open the door to an exposure to something else. A lot of animals, for example, pigs, because of their living conditions, they're vaccinated up the wazoo, and they're about the most disease-ridden, I know you like bacon, Mike, but they're about the most disease-ridden animal you can find. If they're coming from a factory farm, they will, and if people have to use hazmat suits to deal with the pigs, you've got a problem, haven't you?
Well, I do, but the thing is, I don't want my body to be resistant to this stuff, because I think it would it would start changing things big time. So it says here they have been using a powerful gene editing tool called CRISPR to create genetically modified human baby. What do you know about CRISPR? Can you tell us anything about it, or?
It's the same principle as the other stuff, mate. That's the only way they get new genetics into other people is they give you that virus, which allows for cross. There's a variety of viruses, but they usually use the cauliflower one to splice in the new genetic code. It makes the sequence susceptible. But here's the question: after they've got these designer babies who are better and stronger and faster and whatever, so they say, you know what we're going to have a world of? We're going to have a world of rich haves and poor have-nots, right?
Yeah. So then
will you be on that line, Mike? Will you be on the have-not side, or will you be on the have side?
Well, I don't want to be modified. I was created by the vision of a creator, and that's it. I mean, that's
perfectly intact.
You know, and
so these people want to play that role. They will fail, unfortunately. But they don't seem to, believe that. I think they're deluded, a lot of these people who run our society, to think they'll get away, ultimately, with all the wickedness they've done. But ultimately, no one is irredeemable. All may repent. All may come into the fold.
Yes.
If the Lord is willing to let you in.
Yeah, and I don't know, man. This is Evan, I think this is bigger than everything I think we've ever talked about, because this is huge. This is enormous. This is bigger than the housing crash. This is bigger than the economic bubble we're in. I think this is a massive deal, because I think this could make or break, or this could open Pandora's box. And why? We'll
end up with genetic chimera like they want. The UN climate accords were discussing the benefits of such things. Human-animal hybrids for organ harvesting and whatnot. If you have half man, half pig, the liver's similar enough. They were trying to justify that before with pig liver transplants. So you can imagine what kind of markets that will open to the rest of the world. Imagine the organ harvesting rackets of these elite. Wouldn't it be trendy? Get your pig man today, save yourself tomorrow.
Isn't that you watch South Park?
I did. Oh, Man Bear Pig, very good.
Yeah.
Very good.
That was, what's his name?
Al Gore.
Al Gore.
Al Gore.
That's right. Yeah, Al Gore. Okay. Okay, the Chinese scientist behind the endeavor said he hoped to produce the biggest standout breakthroughs in the field of achieving his team's goal. He wrote in an ethics statement last year, "In this ever more competitive global pursuit of applications for gene editing, we hope to be a standout." But
I bet, Mike, they'll have a chip to monitor how your genetic modification went. They'll say, "Oh, you don't need vaccines anymore. Vaccines are gone. Just put a chip in your arm and we can modify you from there." Some excuse like that. But if our corn and wheat and canola, or rapeseed oil as it used to be called, good for polishing wood, not much else, yet they put it in everything because it's got massive inflammatory effects on the body. But if those are those crops that require constant spraying just to keep them alive and are eaten by every pest out there and poison everything around them or anything to go by, I don't think humans are going to be much of a success when it comes to these genetic splicing maneuvers that they no doubt have already done, and if they're getting people ready for it, are about to implement in the years to come with some disease scare or another. Remember swine flu? What a joke. Oh, this crippled, diseased young boy with pneumonia died of swine flu. Well, the odds are in his favour.
Oh, God.
It's never the healthy, upright, upstanding people who get sick. It's always these people in hospitals. Last place you want to be is a hospital. I suppose you can't help your situation at the moment, Mike. Hopefully she does very well. She's still in the hospital.
No,
right?
She came home this evening.
Oh, well, I can continue with my point then.
Yeah, so she my wife is home, by the way, guys. Just an update. People have been asking in the comments. And that's why I have my long intro in the show. I give it 2 minutes for people to come on while I'm live. And then the intro kicks off. And I said at the beginning of the show because a lot of people were asking and sending some kind words and a lot of positive, reinforcement that I needed. And yeah, she came home. She's fine. She's doing well. And the kids are happy. And they're all asleep. So that's why we're just hanging out right now because the house is dark and quiet. So
all is calm, all is quiet. Not a house, not a mouse. Is that right, mate?
That's right. So I'm in this tiny town in the middle of the mountains here in British Columbia, broadcasting to the world. So that's a nice turn of the century look. Back in 2118, when they look back 100 years, they'll say, well, they had internet. And internet, before they got the 5G rolled out and killed half the world, it was a good thing.
Well, I'm not sure if the 5G will be the thing killing people. A lot of people go to their doom willingly, following a trend, don't they?
Yes.
Look at Jim Jones. How many people died there? They were trendies. And they drank the trendiest drink out there.
Have you ever attended Jonestown?
Yeah, the Jonestown Massacre, that's the one. Then you've got the Hale-Bopp Comet. You've got all sorts, Mike. There's no shortage of cults out there. It's just that now they're sanctioned and run by the government these days.
What about that tree? What about that tree that was on TV, that guy? I call him a tree. He's such a tree. And he's talking about getting on the UFO and you have to dress in black.
Oh, that would be... Well, that's the French cult. I think they're still around where the women have to be topless, something like that.
And then then a UFO picks them up when they die.
Well, that was a Simpsons episode too, wasn't it, Mike?
But no, that was a real cult. There was that wingnut. Oh, yeah. That guy's a tree, man. Like, how can you take that guy serious? He's such a wingnut.
Well, people take David Icke seriously, Mike. They take news services seriously. People take a lot of things that they shouldn't seriously. They don't scrutinize it. They just believe,
Exactly.
They just believe.
Well, people don't remember. People don't remember.
No, people don't remember yesterday. That's right.
Well, they don't remember the original discussion of media. What is the media? It's the message.
Oh, yeah, the message. Well, and what's the message? That's the next question.
That's the next question. He who controls the media controls the message, right?
That's right. And they can tell you what happened in the past, and you'll believe it. He who controls the past, so on and so forth, right?
So, anyways,
What else is new, Mike? I wouldn't worry about genetic modification. It can be done for good. Here's the other thing.
Mm-hmm.
Regular, organic, what would you call it? What's the word? You've got monoculture, aquaculture, permaculture. Permaculture uses a symbiosis of different plants to work together. For example, onion will take nitrogen out, and you'll have brassica putting nitrogen back in through depositing it into the soil. So they all work together, and you get these incredible yields incredibly quickly. And you feed the fish underneath, who feed on the remnants of the root network. So you end up with fish, and you end up with food in a very small square footage. That kind of agriculture, well, it's not agriculture, it's permaculture, sorry. Mm-hmm. That kind of permaculture could create incredible food production, but a lot of food production's outlawed. And if the government finds out what you're doing, especially in Australia, the government finds out what you're doing one way or another, they'll come in and say, you might be earning money off that, I'm going to tax you. I think you might be earning money off that, I'm going to tax you. You stuck your head up, I'm going to tax you. That's Australia. A lot of roadside stalls simply can't meet the food health standards, all the, back of the house kitchen sort of operations. They're all shut down because they can't afford $100,000, which is a joke for price as well. Industrial kitchens in their houses, you see.
Yeah, so and you get the same kitchen made in Bolivia and probably better standards with nice ceramics and proper thing for like $6,000.
Well, here's the thing, mate. You're not allowed to use ceramics in a lot of industrial kitchens anymore. It's all stainless steel around particle board, and there's only 2 manufacturers usually in each country. Here it's a bit different. There's small businesses, and the regulations simply aren't there. But in Australia, there's basically one or two, depends on how you look at it, but it's essentially one equipment supplier for all the kitchens in Australia, and they charge an incredible amount of money. Like a blender, well, you can't have one for the price of a blender. You've got to have this shiny blender that does exactly the same thing, with exactly the same motor, with exactly the same functionality, but you have to pay 10 times as much because you have to buy from us. And that's kind of where we're going with genetically modified food. You've got cross-contamination, corn crops next to organic corn crops.
But a lot
GMOs spike with it, and they sue them.
But a lot of people don't know, when you walk into a grocery store and see all those aisles of food, it's only 2 or 3 corporations that run the whole thing. A lot of people think they see Mountain Fresh Dew juice, they see Mrs. Mary's cheese, productive cheese. You see Jonathan's steak farmhand ranch steaks. It's all coming from 2 or 3 major corporations. They don't understand that it's that. You know what I'm saying?
That's right. Well, I mean, a good example would be the Australian model. Woolworths and Coles are a duopoly, but they're actually owned at the top by the same corporation, of course. But they look like they're competing. There's Aldi and other things, but the majority of it, all the distribution's done by Woolworths, more or less. And let's say in my hometown, I buy ginger. I could buy it from the farm, right? Oh no, you're not allowed to do that anymore. I've got to buy it in the supermarket. So I go to the supermarket, and the ginger that was just down the road from me, quite literally I could pick it off the ground, has been sent all the way down 1,200 kilometres to Melbourne, wrapped in plastic, and then shipped all the way back up to my hometown. That's how centralised the distribution is in Australia. Quite interesting.
So, so one way around. Well, yeah, it's logistics, right?
Well, it's bad logistics.
It's very bad logistics. That's why they're okay. I see where you're coming right here. I see where you're coming with this.
Right here. Right, Mike. Because it doesn't really matter what it says on the packet. It matters who's doing the packaging, because it's usually one distributor, maybe 2.
Okay.
You know, same cuts of meat, different labels, Mike.
Okay. I want to ask you something. It's something I wanted to ask you actually on Mike of the Night, the other Mike of the Night. I didn't have time to throw it up there. Did you see about those plastic doll brothels they have in Vancouver?
I think didn't they legalise that in the UK before they did that? You know, what are they called? Real dolls. Yes. Is that what you're talking about, Mike?
Why are we turning away from humans? Like, what is, like, what first we're antisocial, now we hate each other, now we don't talk to each other, and it's going to get to a point where we don't even make love to each other anymore.
Well, that's right, Mike. If you think about it, it's a big stigma being in a relationship. They always propagate the idea that, oh, women are crazy and men are heartless, you know, everyone's out to get you, so don't deal with them at all. Just buy this plastic product that will make you feel better. Mm-hmm. I couldn't imagine it making you feel better. People have wild imaginations, don't they?
This is crazy because, well, I mean, I think this is in their plans, to be honest with you. I know I'm going to start theorizing here or become a conspiracy theorist. A lot of people don't know that the word conspiracy theorist came or was invented in 1963, November 22nd, when John F. Kennedy, the day he was assassinated in Dallas, Texas. A lot of people that were
came up racist too, Mike. In the 60s, Trotsky came up with the word racist. It's not that old a word.
Nope. And then they said you were a conspiracy theorist. And like, what? What does that mean? I'm just telling you what I saw. Well, we don't care what you saw, ma'am, and we don't care if you think you saw something. But this is what I saw. You're a conspiracy theorist. Bad. So, you see, but I think, honestly, this is being designed, and I think this is something to basically dismantle humanity.
Well, it destroys the family unit, doesn't it, Mike? Because what happened to the mother, father, and child? All gone, you know? We've got 2 mummies, we've got 2 daddies, we've got every flavour of the disgusting rainbow. Mm-hmm. And the nuclear family, I'm going to say nuclear. Mm-hmm. Nuclear family Mike, has been made obsolete. You just simply can't have one on television without there being something terribly wrong with it. They're making it very untrendy to be perfectly natural. Everything they do is totally unnatural. Just look at genetic modification.
But what I don't understand about this, that's really bothering me, is that you cannot talk to these things. You cannot understand. You mean you're not making love to them, because when you make love to somebody, you're actually, you're making love. You are, it's
direction, right?
Yeah. So these are real feelings. Now we're talking real feelings here, folks. Tonight we're not talking about fake feelings.
Hold on, Mike. Hold on now. Their feelings supersede your feelings now. Terribly sorry, Mike. You're a heterosexual family man, and he's a degenerate having sex with a piece of plastic. His feelings are more important than yours in the eyes of society now. He's a victim. So he'll get special treatment.
I'm really, 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 really... It's basically, I see it as a hunk of silicone is what it is.
Oh, it depends what it's made from, Mike. Who knows the sophistication? I imagine if it's anything like, if you remember the infomercials of the 90s and 2000s, you get these amazing pans. Oh, no, we'll give you 10 of them if you just buy one. Or whatever, an ab whatever, right?
Yeah.
Flexing and smiling. If it's anything like that sort of infomercial nonsense for an even higher premium, which somehow they've got the money for, which is quite curious. But I mean, that's worldwide, isn't it, Mike? These people have no money, but they've always got a cigarette in their mouth. Mm-hmm. Doesn't really make sense, does it? Yeah. They always seem to have the money for these sort of things because it's encouraged. But doing the right thing is discouraged and is made to seem like the wrong thing. And if you just believe the authority, like I was saying with education, you're only going to have their answers and you're only going to have their thoughts. And if you're on a smartphone all day and that's your only connection to society, you can see nothing but the reality they supply you. And then you've got the targeted ads to tell you to go and buy one of these plastic things, I'm sure, eventually. But,
I don't...
Because you mentioned it. It'll be on your phone, advertising to you now. You've had that before, right?
Yeah.
Having a conversation, all of a sudden Google has just the right ad for you. Plastic women.
So here it is. I'm looking at it right now. There's a sex doll brothel in Toronto where clients pay $120 an hour and an additional $90 per half hour to do whatever they want. The 6 doll staff provide they don't make any extra holes in them, though one wonders what would be the occasion for doing so. Brothel employees clean up the dolls between appointments, so prepare them for the next customer. That's disgusting, dude.
Well, you'd have to be curious how they do clean them. It'd have to be a jet of steam, wouldn't it? Be the only way to sterilise such a thing. And then, you'd have to sterilise everything. I bet they get a free pass, though. I bet they're totally unregulated because the government just won't touch it, right? Because it suits their agenda. But if you opened a humble business, a humble game store in Merritt, British Columbia, everyone's after you, Mike.
Yep. Outsiders not welcome in small towns when the rest of the world in big cities and big establishments are just absolutely falling apart at the core.
Oh, it's all rot, Mike. That's the thing. There's very little. If let's say you had an apple and you say, oh, that skin looks all right, and then you cut away and it's all brown on the inside. You say, well, there must be some good apple in here, and you keep cutting and cutting and cutting and cutting and cutting and cutting, and you can't find any. As soon as I see a bit of rot in an apple, I throw it away usually. I don't even bother, because I know the rot will run deep. But these people, they'll just look at the shiny skin with the wax coating on it, which is very bad for your digestion. You have to soak your fruit in warm water to try and destabilize the wax. Don't use any of those soapy products they're selling. They quite literally make the problem worse. Just a tip for people out there, if they're cleaning apples at the moment, live on Mike in the Night. But in regards to a sex brothel, Mike, they've got regular brothels they have to regulate that because it's humans. When you've got technology, I bet you don't, because there's no liability, is there?
Mm-hmm. I don't know, man. I'm kind of disappointed. I'm really disappointed with humanity. I honestly thought we'd be colonizing different planets. I honestly thought we would be by now. You know what I'm trying to say, right, Evan? I just thought we'd just be in better condition right now than we are now.
Well, that was the lie to get everyone here, right? Oh, we're progressing. Just give away your freedoms. And then they say, well, we can't progress now because give me some more of your freedoms. And now the reason why we're going backwards is because give me some more of your freedoms, you know? It's the same trick, just with a different slice, you know?
Okay.
They rotted the culture, Mike, and now they're rotting the mind.
Well, somebody in the comment, Candace in the comment sections put up a really good comment saying, we need to take back our authority.
Well, we have our authority already. The thing is, we don't use it. We don't call out well, we do, but most people don't call out a lie when they see it. You should always call out a lie when you see it. Doesn't matter what the person feels, because they're telling a lie. It becomes irrelevant what they feel if they're telling a lie.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Because then otherwise you're complicit in their life. You know they're lying and you let it go slip by. You've become culpable in their sin and in their crime. So the first thing, start exposing the liars. It costs you nothing and you feel better. Try exposing the lies today.
Yeah.
With a free bottle of Super Male Vitality. Order now.
Speaking of Super Male Vitality, guys, I want to thank everybody for sending their donations to PayPal. In the comments below, you can see my PayPal tip jar. I want to thank everyone for actually sending me funds from New Zealand, Australia, the UK, from the United States of America, from everywhere. I want to thank everybody. And guys, don't forget to check out my store. There should be a link up top to my store of the channel. And I got all kinds of cool stuff for Christmas ideas. If you want to support the transmission, you can support us here on eBay. I got a nice store, all kinds of products. So we're approaching our 1 hour, and yeah, that's all I wanted to do, a short show tonight. I kind of wanted to talk about this, an open discussion about this whole genetic engineering, because I think it's just going to open Pandora's box into a nightmare of problems that we will not be able. Like, I could see them, honestly, 30, 50 years from now, having to put down an entire genetically modified race of people because of something that happens.
Well, you do know, Mike, they have convention on genetic weaponry already. They've got that. They've got the weather weapons convention, the treaty, and they've got one for genetic specific weapons. So yeah. There are markers they can use to murder people en masse. Not sure if they would do it though, Mike, because they usually want you to destroy yourself. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, they don't care what happens to people, but they bank on you destroying yourself most of the time. That's what I find. Because, I mean, you think about it, Afghanistan, all those bombs, and it's still there. I said, people still live there. What are all these bombs doing? That's my question.
I know. It could be so much that we're being told. I mean, what if everything is a lie?
Well, I could tell you an interesting one, Mike. This might upset Big Cure, but I will upset him anyway. I went to Hiroshima, and they have something called the Bomb Dome. It's the famous building you can see in Hiroshima. It's a blown-out hotel. And there are a number of problems with that nuclear story. First, the seismic data, only for that day, which is immaculate in Japan. There's seismic data. It is continuous, except on the day the atomic bomb was dropped. It just seems to be missing there for some reason. And all the eyewitness accounts about the B-28s firebombing the area, also scrubbed from history. But here's the interesting thing. They say from the bomb dome, 15 kilometers away, an airborne detonation. The shockwave ripped all these pillars up. And then you look at the pillars, and they're all pointing different directions. There's scorch marks on the other side of the building. And I asked the lady, I said, well, how do you get your statistics for people who are still alive after the bomb? And because they have volunteers there, of course, and they're there to tell you, whatever's been sanctioned by the government and by the system. And she said, well, when someone dies who was at that time in this area, living in that period of time, if they die, they are added to the atomic bomb casualties. Tell me what's wrong with that sentence, Mike.
Well, how do they know they even lived there or were there?
Well, no, not even that, Mike. Let's say they did live there and they were right under the atomic bomb when it happened. Somehow they survived. Let's assume that. Now, they die today. That's an atomic bomb casualty. What's wrong with that sentence, Mike? So they get shot in the street today. They're an atomic bomb casualty.
Oh, okay.
Isn't that fun?
Yeah. Yeah, I've heard some horror stories.
Officially do it.
I've heard some all bizarro things about that. You know, I'm just going to have to start taking a look at things for myself if I want to know something. Like just going there myself, physically. Oh, yeah, Mike, you don't have to go there. Just look it up on Wikipedia. No, I want to go check it out myself. I don't care what Wikipedia tells me.
Well, Wikipedia is very easily editable. So, I mean, Infogalactic would be the alternative to Wikipedia, but it's not very comprehensive yet. I mean, they're working on it. It takes a long time. Infogalactic. I've given the guy called Vox Vox Day. He'll rip Jordan Peterson apart for you, too. He professes to be a Christian, at least.
Infogalactic?
Infogalactic, it's the Wikipedia alternative, and it's very, very well controlled and very well edited, unlike Wikipedia, where anything can be changed.
Okay, I'm seeing it right here. It kind of looks like Wikipedia.
Same design, but better. It's getting there. It'll get there eventually, Mike. That's run by the people who run Castelia House, which is an Italian publishing company. They're quite nice people. They sell very good books, too. Very good.
Okay, here we go. I know the answer to this one because I volunteer for Census You Count It. Okay, this one's even better than Wikipedia because right now, according to this... Oh, this is 2014. Okay, right now, Portuguese-speaking people. Portuguese-speaking... Portuguese language never shows up on any radar. But... I think according to the Census You Counted information that I received in 2014, there's 308 million speakers in the world. Okay, making it the first biggest language that was registered was Mandarin, and then it was Spanish with 408 million, English 380.
English, then French.
Yeah, no, French wasn't even in the top 30, and then Portuguese with 308 million, then Hindi, then Bengali, then all these other languages. French wasn't even in the top 20. So,
shocker.
58 million people speak it. So anyways, this page is a little bit better because it says as a first language in 2014, there's 262 million people. So if you look at 2018, there's a possibility that could be 308, and those are the numbers that we got for Census You Counted.
Well, here's the thing, Mike. We all come from Adam. So it doesn't matter how many racing stripes we have on our body.
No. I'm just saying that because I'm an advocate for the Portuguese culture because we don't even exist in history.
That's right.
Yeah.
And yet I take a boat across the sea, Mike, and I'm in Macau.
Portuguese China.
That's right.
Yeah.
You'll have to go there, Mike. Have a wonderful old time, I tell you.
Yeah, I'll come and meet up with you. We'll go to Macau. We'll take a tour of Hong Kong, and then we'll go out to Macau and check out some of the casinos and some of the infrastructure, and just look around and see what's going on down there.
See the sights, Mike. See the sights.
Perfect. Well, Evan, thank you for helping me fill the spot in the show and coming on to the show. So, guys, don't forget to join me Wednesday night for Trends in the Housing Market, guys. Trends in the Housing Market. Please don't forget to join me for that. And we'll have a bunch of call-ins on that. And then don't forget to join me for Mike in the Night. We'll have open mic this next Saturday coming up. Saturday, my time, 9 p.m. So what time is it in your time in Hong Kong? Sunday?
Right now, 3:30, Mike, right now.
No. When I do Mike in the Night at 9 p.m., what time is it there? It would be a Sunday, right?
Would be a Sunday. Well, when I get to calling in like I did last time, I was a bit late actually.
Mm-hmm.
It's 2:15 So when I call in, Mike, I'm the last guest. What time is that? Let's do some mathematics.
2:15.
Or I could just... Oh, no, forget Mike.
But
Let me see. Let me check for you. Time zone. What's the time there, Mike? Let's do it that way.
Okay, the time here is 11:32 p.m.
11:32 p.m. All right. So here it's 3:30 p.m. Therefore, you would be either backwards or forwards. Depends how you want to look at it.
Well, you're ahead.
By 8.
You're a day ahead.
All right. So that'd be 8 plus 12. That's quite a time zone gap, Mike. And yet we're so close on the map.
It's Monday here still, so yeah. So
you're not missing much, Mike. When you get to Tuesday, not much going on here.
Yeah. Okay, well, anyways, don't forget everyone to join us for these shows. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to tip the tip jar. I want to thank everyone for their support. And like I said, anything that goes in the tip jar is automatically going to be put towards a new computer rig, a good, strong rig. Because the one I have is like 5 years old, and it's starting to fall apart on me. So, and yeah, Wednesday night. So thank you so much, Evan. God bless.
A pleasure, Mike. A pleasure.
Thank you. Bye. So that was my man, Evan, guys. And I want to thank everybody for joining tonight. And yeah, have a good night, guys. And don't forget to join me for Trends in the Housing Market as the housing market crashes everywhere. It's going to be a really interesting sight to see where things are going to be headed. Good night.